My name is Leeroy. I am an artist and designer. I do mostly large-scale interactive structures and spatial constructions in public spaces, but also in different interior spaces. My work also moves in between different creative industries, from film to theater to performance to product design and costuming and fashion. I called the installation Mebuyans Colony. Mebuyan is a goddess of death and fertility in Bagobo mythology. She is described as having breasts all over her body because in their cosmology, spirits of the deceased still have to continue on a journey in the afterlife, as well as the spirits of dead children. So she has to nourish them in order for them to grow into adult spirits so they can continue on to their journey. So in that sense, the colony, these pods, are references to her appearance, and the pods are also spaces for transformation in the same way that she helps transforms these spirits of children into adult spirits, into spirits that are capable of continuing on a journey. Well, the work is inspired by many different sources that I've encountered in my life. I am fascinated with pre-colonial mythology, along with sci-fi culture, visions of the future and how it is imagined, and how this genre relates to me specifically as a Filipino. So the work itself is a confluence of all these different fascinations of mine, as well as my attempt to integrate current issues through it being a platform for me being able to collaborate with different specialists like environmental scientists, performance artists. I hope that this work becomes an occasion for all these different ideas to come together. The work was conceptualized pre-COVID. The concepts, the themes, and ideas are similar still, but there was a renewed and extra focus on this idea of integrating agricultural systems into the structure, as well as using discards, material discards, as a viable structural material for the installation. So in this case, we are using plastic bottle discards, reconfiguring them as transparent, translucent cladding for these pods. In a way, it will resemble a kind of elevated greenhouse. We'll have agricultural systems integrated into the structure as well. Everything will be exposed and visible for people to learn from how the system works. I'm working with Jose Felix, who is an environmental scientist, who will help me determine how to integrate all these different systems into the different pods. The different pods will highlight different ideas related to agriculture, will showcase different approaches and strategies for contemporary agriculture.
Here, we want to showcase biotechnologies like growing different plants and adapting to climate change and the weather, and also making the lives of the farmers easier in terms of their labor, in terms of operations, by giving them simple engineering techniques like drip irrigation.
We'll be growing food inside, in the interiors of the pods, as well as the exteriors of the pods. In theory, by the end, there will be a second layer of organic material that envelopes the structure. I think it's important to showcase how artists can join in the fight of providing viable solutions. In the case of this particular work, I am offering it up to different collaborators. There's a point where it ends, where my involvement diminishes, and it is passed on to the people who are invited to use it. I want to open it up to different ways of engagement and activation. During the pandemic, there was this kind of renewed awareness of food security and scarcity of resources and how people self-organize to feed their communities. This is kind of like inspired by all those things that has happened in the past. I myself was part of this local community pantry in our village, led by a group of artists as well. And during the start of the pandemic, me and a lot of my peers in the creative industry converted their studios to create PPEs, improvised PPEs. After all that, there's this spirit where it's not just about making beautiful individual art objects anymore. It's about highlighting these ideas that are important to us. Hence, the desire to open up the platform, to not just showcase my work myself, but also it becomes a platform for all these different collaborators that I'll be working with. So it's not just one environmental scientist, like I'm also meeting someone who is engaged in growing mushrooms, and then people who are part of seedling banks. It's growing, and I hope that it highlights the need to discuss these issues that directly relate to benefiting the communities that we move in, that we live in.